What's going on, everyone? So earlier today, we got the official trailer for the upcoming Maxxxine. This is the third installment in that Pearl X Ti West Trilogy that we're getting. And I'm not gonna lie, this film, based on the trailer, is a lot different than what I thought it would be. So if you've seen the trailer, if you haven't, go check the trailer out. But basically, to kind of summarize, Maxxxine is in Hollywood trying to rise to stardom. She gets a part in a horror movie, right? She's kind of a face and a fixture in the Triple X era of film, right? YouTube, got to be careful. But then this ties into Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. So I think that could be an interesting storyline that maybe we kind of have these parallels, right? Like, does Maxxxine run through and start killing people, taking people out, and kind of using the guise of the Night Stalker, or emulating some of the kills? That's kind of what they alluded to in the trailer, kind of what they hint to, which I do think would be a little predictable based on the storyline. However, execution, delivery, storytelling is everything. Maybe it's a twist, right? Maybe it's kind of being alluded to that Maxxxine is running through and killing people, but it's really not her, right? Maybe it's somebody trying to set her up, to try to get rid of her, right? So this is a sequel to X, for those that may not be familiar. So this film is set in 1985, as you see by the trailer, which is several years after the X events. So this is going to have the Night Stalker background elements. I wonder if they're going to change like historical elements in this. One thing that comes to mind was, what was it? Was it American Horror Story? I think did a like Richard Ramirez version. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was an American Horror Story one where they had a like a Richard Ramirez, where they were like at the camp and Richard Ramirez there, and they basically changed a bunch of things, kind of told their own story of Richard Ramirez. Do they kind of go with that approach in this Maxxxine? But look, I'm all for a creative slasher. Look, I enjoyed X and Pearl. I thought that they were both very solid films, in my opinion. This film looks like you've seen the incremental increases in like budget and just popularity, right? This film even is going to have like Kevin Bacon in it, which is very interesting in and of itself. You also have Giancarlo's. You have Lily Collins is in this film. Halsey, right? They actually have a very good cast for this film compared to some of the other ones, right? Obviously, Mia Goth is incredible, and you have Jenna Ortega was in X, so they've had just very recognizable people. But this film looks like, okay, they're going to have the budget, they're going to have the actors and actresses in this, they're going to have various elements, and then now you have the running backstory of Richard Ramirez tying into Maxxxine and whatever story she's going through and whatever they end up entailing in her regards. But I hope that this is a clever, creative style film, which I do trust it will be, but I hope it doesn't fall into some of the habits, right? Because one of the things about bigger budgets and stars and stuff is studios want to play it a little more safe, where I thought Ti West did a nice job of kind of getting back to some of the classics and kind of telling, yes, they were very inspired in many ways. Like X was very reminiscent of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre in many ways, but it had its own twists and spins, but it felt very, kind of campy in a lot of ways, right? It felt like you were watching, like I said, a original classic 1970 film. I enjoyed the elements and the take on X and Pearl, and I want them to kind of be able to contain or maintain that direction. I don't want it to start getting a little too Hollywood, right? I don't want it to start being like, oh, we've seen this film 100 times. It's just a different title. It's a different name. I hope that they allowed Ti West to continue his vision and continue what he's doing, because he's had success in the previous two films, which is why we have a third film, all right? And why you were able to do and get some of the pieces that you got because of the acclaim of the previous two films. Get what I'm saying? Like, I I don't want it to be something where it's like, okay, this is just a carbon copy of Scream or whatever, and it's just like they just did their own version of Scream. Like, no, I want it to have little hit. Like, again, just like X had that feel of, a Texas Chainsaw, and Pearl had feels and little hints. Like, that's fine with me. I'm great with that. You always want to have the callbacks and the little hints of things. But if you see those films that are like, okay, this is just essentially a remake of this, I don't want that. I want them to kind of, here you go, here's the continued story, here's the continuation, here's basically your sequel to X, and here's great acting, great storytelling, great visuals, right? And just properly conduct this film is what I'm looking for. But I have a lot of excitement, a lot of hope for this film. I really did enjoy the previous two films, and I think that now you got this third installment. If this is successful, keep going, right? I mean, if you can tell good stories and you can create good films, and they were able to do things on, especially X, they filmed X and Pearl together. Basically on one budget, essentially. If now you can start, because of the success of the other films, you can start actually getting, higher budget actors and having bigger budgets for better effects and better visuals and better sets and better settings, right? Like, all those things, like, cool, right? Like, if you could keep doing this, or even if you go away from like the Maxxxine route, right? And you just do a different style with Ti West, and he's doing these creative films, right? Like, I like the creativity. I like the ingenuity, right? Like, everything's always going to have a feel of something else, right? Everything's always going to have this reminiscence of, a slasher film is a slasher film. But there's ways that you can still be creative and do different things and tell fun stories while still maintaining that classic slasher. And I'm not necessarily saying that this is going to be a slasher, although it kind of has that feel to it. But even if it is, I love me a good slasher film, right? Scream. I love me Scream. That's my favorite horror franchise. I love those good old slasher films. So if this is a good old fashioned slasher film, but with the Ti West effect, and they're telling interesting stories and have good characters, then sign me up, right? Like, you keep going, right? Like, and if Maxxxine does become like, explore even further. I don't mind. Hey, if she goes dark side and she's taking people out and using the Night Stalker, that could be a fun, creative idea. Yes, again, as I mentioned earlier, it'd be a little predictable, but still, execution, delivery, and storytelling is everything. If you even go the predictability route, that's great. And it could allow you to expand into future installments and future films. And to me, like, I want the creativity. I enjoy the creativity. Right? I love because so many studios right now are afraid to take chances, and it's just this remake after remake, and it's this after this. It's just like, come on, can we get some creative juices flowing here? Can we get some creative writing? Can we get some good storytelling? Even Scream in a lot of ways, right? Scream 5 and 6 were, in more ways than one, copies of Scream and Scream 2. Like, can we go a different route? Can we tell a new story, right? It's just, how many times can we remake Halloween? How many times can we remake The Exorcist? Or, like, can we, like, even films like Abigail, I haven't seen that yet, but at least it looks like it's a little something different, right? Like, not everything has to be a sequel to a classic film. Not everything has to be a remake to a classic film, right? Like, The Crow, right? It's just, to me, give us some fresh blood, right? Give us some fresh films, some fresh takes. And I really think that Maxxxine has the potential to do that. And I'm excited for it. And again, I thought X and Pearl were very creative, were very different, were very unique. And now I want them to keep that trend. I hope, again, Hollywood doesn't really get involved and go, oh no, well, we can't take chances here. We gotta make, no, like, allow Ti West. Ti West got you to this point on his creativity. Right? So allow him to continue to be a creative, and allow him to continue to create these proper films. That's what I'm hoping. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? You excited for this film? Are you not? Do you have your hesitations? Do you not? Again, how you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.